Hey, English learners, welcome back.
We won't keep you waiting. Your speaking practice starts right now.
Quick heads up, today's session is B1 Plus, Intermediate.
But don't let that scare you. If you're still learning at A1 or A2, just see how far you can get. You might understand more than you think.
And if it feels a little challenging, that's perfectly okay. That's exactly where learning begins. Every time you keep going, your brain builds new connections.
Just do your best, enjoy the practice, and let us know afterwards how it felt. Now, just like always, first time through, just listen and repeat. Focus on the sound. Don't worry about translating yet.
If you go through it a second time, think about the meaning too.
Today's topic, speaking with real confidence. Not perfect English, just confident English.
We'll move through speaking up, making mistakes, trying new things, social situations, and building confidence over time.
100 useful sentences. Let's start with something simple, speaking up. Let's go.
I try to speak up even when I've felt nervous before. I try to speak up even when I've felt nervous before. Have you ever found it hard to share your opinion? Have you ever found it hard to share your opinion? I used to stay quiet in most meetings. I used to stay quiet in most meetings. These days, I raise my hand more often. These days, I raise my hand more often. I've come to believe my voice deserves to be heard. I've come to believe my voice deserves to be heard. Have you ever regretted staying silent? Have you ever regretted staying silent?
I speak a little louder than I used to.
I speak a little louder than I used to. My hands still shake sometimes before I speak. My hands still shake sometimes before I speak. I remind myself that my ideas matter too. I remind myself that my ideas matter too. What helps you feel ready to speak up? What helps you feel ready to speak up? I always take a breath before saying something important. I always take a breath before saying something important. I've learned that silence rarely helps anyone. I've learned that silence rarely helps anyone. People tend to notice you more once you actually speak. People tend to notice you more once you actually speak. Do you ever rehearse what you're going to say? Do you ever rehearse what you're going to say? Sometimes I practice sentences in my head first. Sometimes I practice sentences in my head first. I speak more slowly when I want to sound confident. I speak more slowly when I want to sound confident. Nobody really expects you to sound perfect. Nobody really expects you to sound perfect. I focus on my message rather than my accent. I focus on my message rather than my accent. What's the hardest moment for you to speak up? What's the hardest moment for you to speak up? I've been speaking up a little more every day. I've been speaking up a little more every day.
Nice! Keep that energy up. Now, let's talk about mistakes and imperfection.
I make mistakes almost every day, if I'm honest. I make mistakes almost every day, if I'm honest. Do you feel embarrassed when you've said something wrong? Do you feel embarrassed when you've said something wrong? I used to apologize for every small mistake. I used to apologize for every small mistake. Now I just correct myself and carry on speaking. Now I just correct myself and carry on speaking. Mistakes have actually helped me remember words better. Mistakes have actually helped me remember words better. Have you ever laughed at your own mistake? Have you ever laughed at your own mistake? I laughed so hard after I'd mixed up two words. I laughed so hard after I'd mixed up two words. Nobody really notices small grammar mistakes anyway. Nobody really notices small grammar mistakes anyway. I've stopped waiting for the perfect sentence. I've stopped waiting for the perfect sentence. Which mistake do you remember most clearly? Which mistake do you remember most clearly? I once called my boss by the wrong name. I once called my boss by the wrong name. Calling him the wrong name still makes me smile. Calling him the wrong name still makes me smile. I don't think perfection is really the goal here. I don't think perfection is really the goal here. Progress matters far more than perfection ever could. Progress matters far more than perfection ever could. Do you ever correct yourself out loud? Do you ever correct yourself out loud? I correct myself and simply keep talking. I correct myself and simply keep talking. I've stopped being afraid of sounding silly. I have stopped being afraid of sounding silly. Every mistake has taught me something small and useful. Every mistake has taught me something small and useful. What would you tell your younger, more nervous self? What would you tell your younger, more nervous self? I'd tell myself that mistakes are proof I'm trying. I'd tell myself that mistakes are proof I'm trying.
Time to talk about trying new things.
I try something new outside my comfort zone. I try something new outside my comfort zone. Have you ever tried speaking English somewhere unexpected? Have you ever tried speaking English somewhere unexpected? I once ordered food entirely in English while abroad. I once ordered food entirely in English while abroad. Ordering in a language I barely knew felt terrifying and exciting. Ordering in a language I barely knew felt terrifying and exciting. I joined a conversation club a few months ago. I joined a conversation club a few months ago. If I waited until I felt ready, I'd never try anything new. If I waited until I felt ready, I'd never try anything new. What's something new you've tried recently? What's something new you've tried recently? I recently gave a presentation completely in English. I recently gave a presentation completely in English. My legs were shaking before I'd even started. My legs were shaking before I'd even started. I still did it, even though I was scared. I still did it, even though I was scared. Doing something scary once makes it easier the next time. Doing something scary once makes it easier the next time. Have you ever surprised yourself with your own courage? Have you ever surprised yourself with your own courage? I surprised myself by speaking up in a meeting. I surprised myself by speaking up in a meeting. New situations push me to think a little faster. New situations push me to think a little faster. I try to say yes more often than I say no.
I try to say yes more often than I say no.
What new challenge would you like to try? What new challenge would you like to try?
I'd love to try teaching English one day.
I'd love to try teaching English one day. Stepping outside my comfort zone feels strangely rewarding. Stepping outside my comfort zone feels strangely rewarding. I remind myself that growth usually needs some discomfort. I remind myself that growth usually needs some discomfort. Every new attempt has built a little more confidence. Every new attempt has built a little more confidence.
Look at that, over half done already. Let's talk about social situations.
I feel nervous whenever I walk into a room full of strangers. I feel nervous whenever I walk into a room full of strangers. Do you enjoy meeting new people at parties? Do you enjoy meeting new people at parties? I usually look for someone who's standing alone. I usually look for someone who's standing alone. Starting a conversation still feels a little awkward. Starting a conversation still feels a little awkward. I ask simple questions to get people talking. I ask simple questions to get people talking. Have you ever frozen during small talk? Have you ever frozen during small talk? I froze completely during my first job interview. I froze completely during my first job interview. Now I prepare a few topics beforehand. I smile first, even before I've said anything. I smile first, even before I've said anything. What's your go-to question with new people? What's your go-to question with new people? I usually ask people how their weekend was. I usually ask people how their weekend was. Group conversations still feel harder than one-on-one ones. Group conversations still feel harder than one-on-one ones. I try to include people who seem quieter. I try to include people who seem quieter. Have you ever felt invisible in a group? Have you ever felt invisible in a group? I felt invisible at a party a few years ago. I felt invisible at a party a few years ago. Now I make an effort to speak up first. Now I make an effort to speak up first. Confidence in groups has taken much longer to build. Confidence in groups has taken much longer to build. I remind myself that everyone feels a little nervous. I remind myself that everyone feels a little nervous. Which social situation still makes you nervous? Which social situation still makes you nervous? Networking events, which used to terrify me, still make me a little nervous. Networking events, which used to terrify me, still make me a little nervous.
And finally, building confidence over time.
My confidence has grown slowly over the years. My confidence has grown slowly over the years. Do you ever notice your own progress over time? Do you ever notice your own progress over time? I barely recognize how nervous I used to be. I barely recognize how nervous I used to be. Confidence that's built through practice feels different from luck. Confidence that's built through practice feels different from luck.
I look back and feel proud of small changes.
I look back and feel proud of small changes. Have you ever compared your past and present self? Have you ever compared your past and present self? I once compared an old recording to a recent one. I once compared an old recording to a recent one. Hearing the difference honestly surprised me a lot. Hearing the difference honestly surprised me a lot. I trust myself a little more with each month that passes. I trust myself a little more with each month that passes. What's one sign that shows your own growth? What's one sign that shows your own growth? I speak without overthinking every single word now. I speak without overthinking every single word now. Confidence isn't loud. It's often actually quite quiet. Confidence isn't loud. It's often actually quite quiet. I feel calmer in situations that once scared me. I feel calmer in situations that once scared me. Have you noticed changes that other people haven't mentioned? Have you noticed changes that other people haven't mentioned? My friends have noticed I speak up more nowadays. My friends have noticed I speak up more nowadays. Small daily moments build confidence more than big events do. Small daily moments build confidence more than big events do. I celebrate tiny wins instead of ignoring them completely. I celebrate tiny wins instead of ignoring them completely. What would you tell someone who's just starting out? What would you tell someone who's just starting out? I'd tell them confidence is built through practice, not luck. I'd tell them confidence is built through practice, not luck. So, how confident do you feel today?
Nicely done. 100 sentences, from speaking up to building real confidence over time. That's a lot of courage in one session.
This one was a step up from our usual level, B1 plus intermediate. We'd love to know how it felt for you.
Some of those sentences asked you to think a little more carefully than usual.
That's completely normal, though. Every time something feels a little difficult, your brain gets the chance to build new connections. So if today challenged you a bit, that's actually a good sign.
Did today's level feel just right, too easy, or a bit much? Tell us in the comments.
So, Jack, what are you up to for the rest of the day?
Not much, honestly. I've got a tough day tomorrow, so I'm just looking forward to the sofa tonight.
Fair enough. I actually want to get outside for a bit and enjoy the weather. Then I'll probably start digging around for a few more useful topics for you all.
I've actually already got one in mind. Curious what you'll come up with, though.
Guess you'll just have to wait and see.
If you enjoyed this session, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps us, and we're grateful for everyone who wants to keep improving their English with us, step by step.
Thanks for practicing with us today.